Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. I'm Lavanya Somashekar, Senior Smartsheet Consultant at SSPM Consultants. So, before we dive in, let me take a moment to tell you all about who we are as SSPM. We work with organizations across the US, India, Australia, the UK, Singapore, and beyond, and helping teams transform the way they use Smartsheet. And what truly energizes our team is this. Every company we work with wants to scale, but they're tired of drowning in manual processes. So at SSPM, we step in as their Smartsheet partner, helping them onboard their teams, supporting their admins, building customer workflows, training users at every level, guiding mergers and platform transformations, and even managing their licensing so nothing slows them down. Over the past several years, I have had the opportunity to help organizations across industries to design, implement, and scale their projects with the Smartsheet Control Center. And if there is one thing I have learned while working with all these teams, it is most PMOs don't actually have a project management problem, but they have a scalability problem. Teams know how to run projects, they know their process, but once those projects starts multiplying, everything that worked before suddenly becomes painful. Templates drift, dashboards break, reporting becomes manual, and governance becomes inconsistent. And PMOs spend more time fixing problems than guiding strategy. And that leads me to the second truth I often share. Templates are easy and governance is hard, and Control Center solves the hard part. I've seen this firsthand. I have worked with clients who started with 5 control projects and scaled to hundreds in just few months. Not because their teams worked harder, but because Control Center provided consistency, automation, structure, and above all, governance. So today, I'm not just going to talk about what Smartsheet Control Center is, but I want you to walk you through the journey organizations take when they adopt it, how they move from chaos to consistency and manual setup to automation, and from limited visibility to true portfolio intelligence. By the end of the session, you'll have a clear understanding of how Control Center transforms not just project management, but the entire governance model of a PMO. Now that we have set the stage, let's quickly walk through what we'll be covering today. Here's our agenda: an introduction to what Smartsheet Control actually is, a look at its architecture, in simple terms, how the engine behind Smartsheet Control Center works. Next up, we have the pain points organizations face and the solution Smartsheet Control Center provides. And then we have the Control Center automation cycle, basically the life cycle of a project from intake to reporting. To back that up, we'll go through a real implementation use case and how different teams across different industries leverage Smartsheet Control Center. And finally, we have key points, common mistakes, Q&A as our conclusion. Before we dive in, let me ask a quick question. So, how many of you here today are currently using any kind of Smartsheet in any form? And how many of you are considering Smartsheet because you're feeling the pain of scaling your project portfolio? Let me know in the comments and let's move through. What exactly is Smartsheet Control Center? So most people think Smartsheet Control Center as a project automation tool, but that's actually only one piece. Smartsheet Control Center is your organization's central governance hub. It ensures that every single project your team launches, whether it's the fifth or the 500, follows the same standards, the same structure, the same reporting, and the same governance model. It takes the manual effort out of provisioning, updating, and managing projects at scale. According to Smartsheet's own usage patterns, Smartsheet Control Center customers commonly report hours of manual work reduced per project and portfolio changes that used to take weeks can be controlled out in minutes. So, let me ask you another quick question. If you had to update 40 live projects tomorrow with the new column, formula, or workflow, how long would it take you today? Let me know the answers in the comments. And exactly this is where global updates in Smartsheet Control Center becomes a game changer. So think of Smartsheet Control Center as your blueprint library plus automation engine plus governance framework all in one. So next up we have architecture overview. So I want you to imagine this as a project's journey. So every project in your portfolio begins as a request. So that is the demand intake phase. Structured, controlled, and trackable. Next comes the blueprint, your official model of how a project should be created. It's like a recipe a PMO controls, ensures every project is baked exactly the same way. And then after that, we have automated provisioning, where Smartsheet Control Center actually builds the project workspace, the sheets, the reports, the dashboards, folders, everything you need for execution. So once the project is live, you move to project execution where teams work as usual but within a controlled environment. From there, Control Center consolidates everything into portfolio reporting, giving your PMO real time visibility across all active work. And finally, there is change management, the ability to roll out enhancements and process changes without touching each individual project manually. So that's the game changer. And this architecture is what allows organizations to scale without losing any control. Let me know if you like the whole architecture behind the control center. So next up we have why organizations need control center. So in reality, most organizations face few challenges. Like even when teams are doing great work, projects tend to suffer from what I believe there are three major issues or challenges. That is, first one is some of the operational challenges. Projects created inconsistently, templates drifting over time, manual setup leading to errors, broken formulas and dashboards. So these are few of the operational challenges. And the second one, we have strategic challenges where there will be no standardized methodology, no way to enforce governance, and PMOs struggling to scale their processes. And the third type of challenge is called portfolio challenges. So there will be fragmented visibility, manual status and risk reporting, and leaders unable to make data-driven decisions. So let me pause and ask, which of these do you experience the most? Operational, strategic, or portfolio challenges? Let me know and we'll go through it later. So almost every organization I have worked with checks more than one of these boxes, and that's precisely why Smartsheet built Control Center. So next up, we have the challenge versus the solution. So here's a story of most PMOs. So as work grows, the inconsistency grows even faster. What used to be simple becomes very messy and visibility disappears, risk increases, and decision making slows down. But Smartsheet Control Center addresses these pain points directly. It standardizes your project approach, it automates provisioning, it centralizes governance, it provides unified reporting and real time visibility. And it also enables your team to work faster with fewer errors and far more confidence. So Smartsheet Center isn't just solving problems, it transforms how the PMO operates totally. So how does Control Center solve these issues? So in a simple version, we have four important points. That is, Smartsheet Control Center standardizes. It standardizes your templates, processes, naming convention, and dashboard. Everything stays consistent. Next up, Smartsheet Control Center automates. So project setup time drops dramatically. So what used to take hours becomes just a few clicks. So next up, Smartsheet Control Center scales. So you can support hundreds of projects without adding people or any manual work. And the most important one is it governs. This is the most important. Why? Because with global updates, blueprint locking, control access, and structured lifecycle management, Smartsheet Control Center brings discipline and governance to an entire project ecosystem. So let me ask another question. If you could automate one painful part of your project setup today, what would it be? So do let me know, and we can understand why we can easily map those directly to Smartsheet Control Center capabilities. So next up, we have managing a portfolio manually versus with Control Center. So here's where the contracts become very crystal clear. So with managing a portfolio manually, it has tasks like chasing templates, fixing broken dashboards, duplicating sheets, managing inconsistent folder structures, copy pasting reports, and spending hours maintaining the system instead of running it. But with Control Center, your PMO becomes proactive instead of reactive. Every project is created right. Every update reaches every project we have already created and will create in the future. And every dashboard stays intact and your portfolio reporting is always connected and real time. It's the difference between firefighting and leading. So next up, we have before and after Control Center summed up. So let's take a moment and look at what life actually feels before Control Center and after Control Center. So this slides really captures the transformation most PMOs experience. On the left, we have this is the world probably many of you may be living in today. That is, project managers build every project manually, which means every project begins with reinventing the wheel. Templates drift or break. A few tweaks here and a few changes there, and suddenly every project is slightly different. Reporting takes hours or even days because nothing is truly connected. PMOs spend their time chasing data. And at last, there are no standard governance rules. So everyone does things slightly differently, which makes scaling nearly impossible. Now, on the right hand side, this is the world after Control Center. Projects are created in minutes, where a PM clicks a button and the entire governed workspace is ready instantly. Templates are locked and protected, so no more version drift. The PMOs controls the standards. The dashboard update automatically. So from day 1 to day 100, reporting stays accurate and connected. PMO governance is fully enforced. Because every project originates from the same blueprint, consistency isn't a goal, it's a guarantee. So this is why organizations don't just adopt Smartsheet Control Center, they rely on it. It fundamentally shifts how teams work and it removes the burden of setup and maintenance so PMs can actually focus on executing their projects. So, industries commonly leveraging Smartsheet Control Center. So, one of the most interesting things I have seen is how universal Smartsheet Control Center has become. So PMOs use it for governance, IT teams use it for cloud and infrastructure projects, construction firms use it for capital projects, manufacturing team use it for quality programs and maintenance cycles, HRs use it for onboarding, and customer success teams use it for partner or customer onboarding workflows. So there are a variety of use cases, and these are the few of the use cases that shows Smartsheet Control Center is not industry dependent but it's scale and governance dependent. So, a quick question for the audience. So, which industry are you representing today? So let me know in the comments and you will be able to map your work directly to Smartsheet Control Center very easily. So let me walk you through a real example, a real use case from a global pharmaceutical client. They were managing over 200 recurring projects every year. Their challenges included inconsistent project setup, lack of visibility, time consuming reporting, and no standardized governance. So, we implemented Smartsheet Control Center with a simplified, scalable blueprint, a locked PMO control templates, clean naming conventions, automated provisioning, quarterly globally updates, a lightweight folder structure, and centralized governance with the PMO. So the outcome was they went from 2 to 3 hours per project setup to under 10 minutes, and their portfolio reporting became automated completely. Their team stopped fixing templates and started focusing on execution, and leadership finally gained real time visibility across all active projects. So, this is the kind of transformation Smartsheet Control Center is designed for. So next up, we have few Smartsheet Control Center key points. I want to highlight a few key principles or key points for running a strong control center environment. These aren't just the best practices, they are the patterns I have seen in every successful Smartsheet Control Center implementation. So first up, we have keep your blueprint design simple and scalable. So the fewer the variations, the better. So complexity slows you down always, and simplicity is the key to scale. Next up is to lock your templates and restrict modification rights. So let the PMO own the standards. This prevents drifts and protects your governance model. Apply strong and predictable naming conventions. So this makes folder structures cleaner, improves searchability, and supports automation. Run global updates quarterly. Think of this as your PMO system upgrade. It keeps all active projects aligned with your evolving processes. Keep your folder structure light. So do not bury items under layered of nested folders. So the cleaner the structure, the easier the user experience. So centralize governance under the PMO. So Control Center works best when one team owns the blueprint and the life cycle decision. So these points may look simple, but they are the backbone of every high performing Smartsheet Control Center ecosystem. When organizations follow these, scaling becomes effortless. So, in my opinion, with my experience. So, I have also pointed out few common mistakes and how I suggest to avoid them. So, these are the lessons I have learned, sometimes the hard way. So, first up is to avoid too many blueprints variations. So, stick to one or two blueprints. So, too many create chaos. Next up is don't overcomplicate folder structures, simple, scalable, and yeah, always avoid nested layers. And the third one is have a strong archiving strategy. So quarterly or biannual archiving improves performance and compliance as well. And next up, we have never allow end users to modify the templates. Template governance must stay within the PMO. And lastly, update regularly. Once a quarter keeps everything in sync. So this is the most important one, which I have started using regularly. And all the clients, all the companies we work with, love how we kind of have pass through all the updates in time to all the projects we have already created in the past. So these small practices make a massive difference when operating at scale. So as we wrap up, here's the message I want to leave you with. Smartsheet Control Center isn't just a tool, it's a governance model. It gives structure where there is inconsistency, it gives automation where there is manual effort, it gives visibility where there is chaos, and it gives PMOs the power to scale confidently. If your organization is growing, diversifying, or handling recurring projects, Control Center becomes the backbone that holds everything together. So I'd love to open the floor for questions now. Feel free to ask anything about the architecture, blueprints, real implementations, challenges you're facing currently, or anything specific to your industry. Yes, yes, we do. We are planning for a live webinar probably in the future in the coming days, and you'll definitely get notified on our LinkedIn profiles. Any other questions? Okay, so thank you so much for your time today. And if you'd like to, if you'd like some support implementing Control Center or need guidance on blueprint design, automation, or portfolio governance, here's how you can reach us out. So these are, our handles. And it's been a pleasure walking you through this journey and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.